Nikhil, a big upset there. We did see earlier when Afghanistan, in fact, had stunned England, and now we are seeing that it is Netherlands that has beaten South Africa.
Well, that's right, Aishwarya. I'd have to say that this is Netherlands' biggest win in World Cup history now. They've played many editions of the Cricket World Cup, but always remained a minnow simply because they do not have a test status. But coming up against a South African team, and might I add, a in-form South African team that could have very well have gone on top of the table because they had the best net run rate amongst all the teams. Today was looked at as an easy game that they would have had against Netherlands, the bottom ranked team in this World Cup. Everyone expected South Africa to win and they should have been on top of the table. But as things stand right now, South Africa haven't reached the top of the table. The only piece of good news for Indian fans is it maintains India's status as the #1 team now in this World Cup in the league stage. So India still remain #1. You'd expected South Africa to go #1 after this win, but that hasn't happened. But you're right. It is, in the last 3 days, the second big upset that we've seen. But I'm going to rank this upset slightly higher than even Afghanistan, England, because, Afghanistan is a test team. Afghanistan is a team that has tested opponents before. But for the Netherlands team that do not play regular cricket, a lot of their players are not full-time professionals. They actually are involved in other professional work and then play cricket part-time. For them to have come and beaten South Africa the way they did, I think it's a massive day. And the way the game started, it seemed like it's going to be a walk in the park for the South African team. At one stage, they had Netherlands for 140 for 7, and at that stage you didn't expect Netherlands to get anywhere even close to 200, but they did very well. Their lower order, the batting lower order, actually chipped in, punched much above their weight to take them to 245. And at the middle stage of this game, you knew that this was a competitive total that Netherlands had got. Yet you would have thought that that South Africa could chase it down. It wasn't to be. That's how good the Netherlands bowlers were today on the day. They were cruising. I mean, at the end, you've seen that 38 run is the margin of victory, which doesn't seem a lot, but it very well could have been an 80-run margin to victory because they got the 9th wicket well in advance. It's just the last wicket pair for South Africa that just got some consolation runs, some runs that might help South Africa stay in terms of, the top pack, in terms of net run rate, and it's going to help them going ahead in the tournament. But overall, losing this game to Netherlands, I think it's a day for us to celebrate cricket. Everyone was looking at this Cricket World Cup going only one way. Predictable was the word that was being used. But as I said, in the last 3 days, you've got 2 upsets, which has thrown open this entire tournament.
Well, Nikhil, we did see Netherlands and in fact had beaten South Africa in the T20 World Cup as well last year and today in the ODI World Cup. So this definitely is an amazing performance by the Dutch team.
Well, true. In fact, their biggest scalp in Netherlands cricket history have been in the T20 World Cup. They've beaten England twice. They beat them in the 2009 T20 World Cup, then beat them in the 2014 T20 World Cup. So those were their 2 big scalps for Netherlands. But it remained only in T20 World Cup. Then, as you mentioned, they got another victory in a T20 World Cup, interestingly, against the same South African side. That was last year in the T20 World Cup that happened in Australia. But on those occasions, you did not read too much into the results simply because they were upsets, all right. But because the T20 format allows on a given day even minnows to play much better and win against much stronger team, because that is the nature of the format. In a 50-over format where it's very tough to do an upset because it's much a longer duration of the game and usually the better team always triumphs, in that scenario for Netherlands to have upset a South African team, and as I said, one of the favorites for this title in the South African team that I'm talking about, that I think is a much bigger victory, even if I was to look at their other 3 victories in World Cup that have come in the T20 format. This 50-over format World Cup win for Netherlands is going to rank right on top, and it wasn't by chance. You just take a look at their bowling today. I think it was real smart bowling. They mixed up their deliveries very well.
Right.
One ball, you remember, from Markram stayed low, but that was also a good bowling. He bowled cross seam. Then you saw a lot of cutters from them. So they came here with a strategy, they came with a plan, and that paid out in the end.
Thank you, Nikhil Naz, my colleague, giving us all the details and the perspective to this match where Netherlands, in fact, has stunned South Africa.